If you're a huge fan of Mass Effect like I am, then I have some excellent news to share. And if you're also a fan of BioWare, a fan of single-player games, RPGs, or even just sci-fi games in general, I think you're going to be incredibly happy with today's news. And that is that Mass Effect Legendary Edition has been a huge success for BioWare. We'll cover the specific numbers and the estimated results in just a second, but right up front, just know that this is a major win for BioWare, a studio desperately in need of a major win. Without a doubt, this is at least the best reception they've had since 2014, when Dragon Age Inquisition came out, and maybe one of their best launches ever. When Mass Effect Legendary Edition launched on May 14th, it debuted at the top spot on the Steam bestsellers list, dethroning Resident Evil Village, which is a huge franchise in gaming obviously, and also beating Resident Evil Village in the UK physical sales charts. This is huge because while EA has not announced any official sales numbers, Capcom has announced that Resident Evil Village sold 4 million units in its first 3 weeks. And if Mass Effect Legendary Edition was beating Resident Evil Village on sales charts, then it's reasonable to assume that in its first month it's done a similar number in sales. Now, it's been noted that MELE didn't do nearly as many physical copies as RE Village, but that's mainly because it's expected that it sold more in digital copies. And that would make sense considering that Resident Evil Village was on the Steam top sellers list for 3 weeks during its launch, which is definitely not bad, but Mass Effect Legendary Edition was on the top 10 for 4 weeks and generally didn't fall down that list nearly as quickly. At its peak, it had 59,817 concurrent players on Steam, the highest ever for a Mass Effect game and the highest ever for any BioWare game, period. But most impressively, the second highest for any EA game, period, ever, second only to Apex Legends. That is huge. It's huge for BioWare, it's huge for Mass Effect as a brand, but it's also huge because it shows EA the viability of single-player games and role-playing games. Don't forget that it was not too long ago when EA CEO Andrew Wilson was expressing doubts about whether or not people were really interested in single-player games. After the success of Jedi Fallen Order, EA executives started to sing a different tune, and now hopefully, with the success of Legendary Edition, we can start to see more momentum going in the direction of support for single-player RPGs. EA is a business. This is the video game industry, not the video game, as I like to say, and this stuff absolutely matters, especially as Dragon Age 4 and the next Mass Effect game are still in production. But okay, sales numbers and Steam stats aside, how has the critical reception been? Once again, another big win for BioWare. Game Informer gave it a 9 out of 10, PC Mag and Games Radar both gave it 4.5 out of 5, Metacritic for the Xbox One is coming in at universal acclaim with a 90, and the PC and PS4 versions are just slightly behind that at an 86 on Metacritic. Steam player reviews are currently sitting at very positive average ratings with over 12,000 player reviews, and the median playtime is over 74 hours. By all accounts, people are seriously loving this game. And lastly, while I don't put too much emphasis on what's trending on certain sites, it is sort of nice to see that people are actually streaming Mass Effect on Twitch, seeing people stream it on YouTube, seeing it trend on Twitter around launch. It all shows that Mass Effect is back in the mainstream gaming conversation, and rightly so. So, what does all this mean for BioWare? What does all this mean for Mass Effect, right? I'm sure you're all saying this is great, but what does this mean? And quite simply, it means that BioWare is in a much better position when it comes to Dragon Age and Mass Effect. As I mentioned just a second ago, there was a time when EA didn't have faith in single-player games. We've just recently, not too long ago, heard news that BioWare got permission to take Dragon Age 4 away from a live services focus back to a more traditional BioWare single-player story-driven focus. Part of that was because Anthem didn't do too well, and part of it was, again, because the leadership at EA saw how well Jedi Fallen Order did as a totally single-player experience. But Mass Effect doing that just cements that this is BioWare going down the right path. It means that as Mass Effect 5 is being developed, as Dragon Age 4 is being worked on, BioWare gets the resources and the time that they need to make those games how they want to. And if EA has any questions about it, BioWare can point to the scoreboard and say, hey, this is what happens when you let us do our thing. We win Game of the Year awards and we sell millions and millions of copies. Let us work. And also, even for BioWare, this is a good reminder of what works in Mass Effect. I loved Andromeda for the settings and the combat and the things that it did well, but I can be honest about how it was generally received, and it wasn't great. And even as the biggest Andromeda defender out there, I can tell you it still had issues and was nowhere near as great as the trilogy. BioWare themselves may have needed a little reminder about their roots and how much people love the tone and the high stakes of the Mass Effect trilogy. We want an experienced, or at least a highly competent protagonist who makes for a great leader and a badass character, quite frankly. We want high-stakes stories about the fate of the entire galaxy. We want relationships that take time to build slowly, not the forced companion friendships of Andromeda. All the success that the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is having is informing EA and reminding BioWare of what works. All of this makes me very excited for the future. It makes me very excited for BioWare. It's excited for Mass Effect and Dragon Age. I just wanted to bring this sort of brief news update, kind of a short video, but just to really put this focus, this emphasis on where we go from here. EA Play is coming up. That's going to be on July 22nd. That's a little less than a month from now. Hopefully we'll see something about Dragon Age 4. Pretty confident that we will. Maybe we'll even get a slight tease or look at what to expect in the next Mass Effect game. If anything worthwhile comes up that's BioWare related, I will do a little recap or something like that here on the channel. Also, very quick note, I just want to say thank you, like a really seriously huge thank you to all of you who have been watching my content over the years, but also those of you who may be new here. There's quite a few new people here, new subscribers who have come on board after watching some Mass Effect content that I've published in the last few weeks. And I just want to say welcome. Thank you for your support. If you like this video, please consider hitting the like button. And if you'd like to be informed of all future videos, like some other people have felt recently, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. I have more videos coming out about Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but also some stuff coming out where we can talk about the future. We can talk about what's next for Mass Effect, where the series can go from here, from this high point. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you'd like to see from the next Mass Effect game. And as always, thanks for watching, and thank you for listening.